jumped in, I'm gonna swim. He had never swum across the river. He thought, with the power of love. And he's swimming across the river, and it's raining. And in the middle of the river, he gets stuck in a bit of a current. And he thinks, this is it, I'm gonna die. Die in pursuit of true love. Somehow or other, he catches onto a log and he kicks his way across, and he ends up way downstream. And he gets to the other side and he realizes it's not a log, it was a body of someone who had drowned in the river. Oh my God, how horrible. He shakes it off, he's covered in mud, his clothes are all wet, he looks terrible. And he makes his way up the hill to Chintamani's house, and the gate is locked. What's wrong? Something is wrong. This is my day. She knows I'm coming. He thinks, I'm not going to let it stop me. And he starts to climb the ivy walls. And at the top, he starts to slip on the wet leaves, and he just manages to reach out to a branch, and he pulls down a giant cobra. And he's just like hanging by one head. And he scrambles over the wall. He gets down to the other side. Oh my God. And he goes to the door, and he knocks on the door. The door swings open just a little bit. She doesn't even open it all the way. And there's Chintamani, and she's not dressed in fancy clothes or anything. She's just wearing a muumuu. Does everyone know what a muumuu is? It's like a sack dress. She's not dressed. She doesn't even open the door all the way. She says, what are you doing here? He said, is that any way to greet me? What am I doing here? I love you. This is our time. This is our day. It's sacred to me. And she says, but Bilvamangala, your father just passed. Everyone knows your father passed. I never thought you would come here on this day. And he said, this is just an obstacle to true love. I told you 1,000 times, I love you. She didn't even open the door. She just looked at him, it's raining. He's like a drowned rat on a doorstep. She just said, oh, Mangala. If you loved me, if you loved God the way you love me, you would be one of the saints that we hear songs about. But just look at you. What are you doing? And it's described that in that moment, he heard the voice of his guru speaking through the mouth of that prostitute, Chintamani. The name Chintamani actually is the name for a legendary stone. If you touch that stone to any metal, it will become gold. And that's what happened to his heart in that moment. Chintamani spoke, and he heard the voice of his guru from 1,000 generations speaking to him. And he fell down at her feet. And he got up and he left, walked away. He left everything. And he started wandering the roads. And he lived in Kerala. And he started walking toward Vrindavan, the sacred land of Radha and Krishna. After some time, what he would do is, this is how he would make a living. He would sit at the side of the road and he would sing songs, and people would give him food or some donation, and he would survive. And after a while, he started to develop a reputation as a holy man. People liked him, they loved him. They would hear his songs, they would sit and listen and sing with him songs of Govinda, songs of Gopal. Govinda Damodara Madhavete, Govinda Damodara Madhavete. Together. Govinda Damodara Madhavete, Govinda Damodara Madhavete, Govinda Damodara Madhavete.
Saketi, Govinda Damodara, Madhaveti.
Hey Krishna.
Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Saketi, Govinda Damodara, Madhaveti. Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Saketi, Govinda Damodara, Madhaveti. Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Saketi, Govinda Damodara, Madhaveti.
So this is how it happened for some time. This also happens to be where the story turns into a New York film. Sounds good, right? It's all moving in the right direction. Well, just like life, the story of Bilvamangala, it's one of the reasons why it's one of my favorite stories is because I can relate to the ups and downs. So it happened that it was monsoon season. And during monsoon season, people often will take a vow to bring in a holy person to their house. They can care for them. It's too wet and crazy outside in India. It's dangerous. Can get sick. So they'll find a holy person and say, please come and stay in our home and we'll take care of you. So this beautiful lady and handsome husband came and they saw Bilvamangala and said, please sir, you're such a saintly person. Please come live in our home for the monsoon season. And he gratefully accepted. But as life happens, there was just something about that lady. There was chemistry. Bilvamangala just couldn't take his eyes off of her. Sometimes she'd be combing her hair and he'd see her long black hair and she would let out, she had these hairpins and she would open the hairpins and her long black hair would fall down past her waist. He just couldn't stop looking. So the husband, at some point, he comes to him and he says, Sadhu, I'm in a difficult situation. My wife and I have taken a vow that we want to take care of every need that you have, but I can't help but notice that you are staring at my wife. So in that moment, Bilvamangala, he realized that this simple working guy was more saintly than him because he actually was so humble in the way that he came to Bilvamangala. Bilvamangala said, actually, I just would like a few moments alone with your wife. Is that all right? He says, oh, it's a very odd request for a holy man. I can ask my wife and see what she says. So they discussed it. She says, no, he seems harmless. It's fine. No problem. So when they were alone together, Bilvamangala said, will you please take your hairpins out of your hair? So she did, and her hair fell down her back. He said, may I have those hairpins as a gift? She said, of course, anything you want. Later that night, Bilvamangala, when the couple was sleeping, Bilvamangala went out of the house and he took all his things and he walked out into the rain. And he just walked. And then he found an alley and he took those hairprint pins and he blinded himself with those hairpins. He was so sad, he was so desperate. He he felt that he had already lost one life, but because his senses couldn't take shelter in the divine, they were dragging him like wild horses, and he was helpless. And in his desperation, he blinded himself. Can you imagine how sad you must be to be in a situation like that? After some time, Bilva Mangala kept walking. Now he was blind, and this years went on, and he's getting old, and he's now made his way to Vrindavan. And he sings, 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 and he sings. And his heart has become transformed. Like Agnidev Prabhu said, first it's medicine, and then it's like food, and then it's like the sweetest dessert. And Bilva Mangala was tasting that. And the poems of Bilva Mangala are the most incredible fractal vision of the divine world. If you look up on the internet, Govinda Damodara Stotram, you can find 70 stanzas of poetry describing so many details of the divine world. Incredible, beautiful poetry. One day he's singing and he hears the sound of ankle bells and a little flute. And it's the voice of a little boy. The little boy says, "Hey, old man, I like your songs a lot. Will you sing a song? I would like to play my flute and dance." And he says, "Sure, no problem. Which song would you like?" Sing Song of Krishna. So he sings. The little boy says, "I like your singing so much, old man. I'm going to bring you milk every day. My family runs a small little dairy here. Ahimsa milk. We're gonna bring you some hot milk, fresh from the udders of the cow every day." And he says, "Oh, that would be more than I get every day. I'd be very happy to receive that. Very kind of you." So every day this boy comes. And Bilva Mangala becomes very attached to this little boy. And then one day the boy doesn't come. And he feels like his heart is going to break. And he thinks, this is so weird. What's going on? It's just like the neighborhood kid. Then he starts thinking, wait a second. He plays the flute. He wears these little ankle bells. His family runs a dairy. This kid is Krishna. He's coming, and he thinks because I'm blind, I'm not going to know. He thinks he can just come around and hang around with no responsibilities. This is my Lord. He's just tricking me. So the next time the little boy comes, Bilva Mangala says, "You think you're so smart. You think I don't know who you are? You little boy, you're Krishna. Now you have to live in my heart. You can't go away anymore. You have to stay here. No more going away from me. Now you just live here." And the little boy says, "Oh, you foolish old man. You don't know anything. Just sing your songs. I'll dance. I'll play flute." This is the blessing of the holy name. So this is a little song that we put out on the record of my friend Genevieve Harrison called Like a River to the Sea. This is a song about being in a holy place but not having the eyes to see. The opposite of Bilva Mangala. Bilva Mangala didn't even have eyes on his head. He was blind, but he could see the spiritual world through his heart. The well I drank from has run dry. The riverbed, it has moved over years. Now cell phones ring instead of bells, and even mountains begin to disappear. Prayers and ashes at the river's edge, drifting side by side. Sunrise is over new hotels, while the sages close their my heart flows like My heart flows like a river,
Flows like a river
to the sea.
to the sea.
May it always be
May it always be
a river of grace,
river of grace.
flows through me.
Flows through me.
May it always be.
May it always be.
May it always be.
May it always be.
My heart, let's sing together. It flows like a river
Flows like a river
to the sea.
to the sea.
May it always be.
May it always be
A river of grace
a river of grace.
flows through me.
Flows through me.
May it always be.
May it always be.
May it always be.
May it always be.
Govinda Damodara Madhave. Govinda Damodara Madhave. Together.
Govinda Damodara Madhave. Govinda Damodara Madhave.
Govinda Damodara Madhave. Govinda Damodara Madhave.
Govinda Damodara Madhave. Govinda Damodara Madhave.
Hey Krishna, everyone.
Hey Krishna, Hey Radha, Hey Saketi, Govinda Damodara Madhave.
Hey Krishna.
Hey Krishna, Hey Radha, Hey Saketi, Govinda Damodara Madhave.
One more time.
Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti Hare Krishna, Hare